After being blessed with the right hand, I want you to understand that above everything that I'm doing tonight, I was created for a purpose. That's to worship the Lord. That's what I was created for. That's what I was created. That's what I was created for. Oh, that's what I was created for. That's what I was created. That's what I was created for. Not just to live in a house or mansion, not just to drive in a fine fancy car. I just want more than a tangible possessions of this world. For made by the master's hand, I'm a unique design, not just to work every day for a dollar, not to dress with the approval of man. I am the image of the Father and the Savior. For with Him I stand, with Him I will remain. Oh, I was created to worship with my heart, my mind, my soul. Oh, I was created to worship. I worship you. Oh, that's what I was created for. That's what I was created. That's what I was created for. Oh, that's what I was created for. That's what I was created for. Not just to live in a house or a mansion, not just to drive in a fine fancy car. I want more than the tangible possessions of this world. Made by the master's hand, I'm a unique design, not just to work every day, oh, just to dress for the approval of man. For I am the image of the Father and the Savior. For with Him I stand, with Him I will remain. Oh, I was created to worship with my heart, with my heart, my mind, my soul, my soul. Yeah, yeah. I was created to worship. So I worship you. I worship you, Lord. Hey. Oh, I was created for no other reason but I was created for. Bless your name, Jesus. I bow to your throne, Lord Jesus. You're the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Oh, beside thee there is no other, Lord Jesus. So I lift my hands, I lift my voice. You're the King. We bless you, Jesus. Oh, 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 I was created for no other reason but to lift my hands to you, oh God of all the earth. I was created for, I was created for, I was created for, oh.
Welcome to Joyful Heart Praise, to another segment. We cannot wait to talk about what we're going to talk about today. But I am your host, Geraldine.
I'm Letha.
I'm Letha.
We are talking about
Sexism in the church.
woo.
Yeah.
I have to say, with Joyful Heart Praise, we're going to be talking about a lot of topics, and sometimes it will not be in the church,
Right.
but it will be a clean conversation of what we're talking about.
Right.
So I can't guarantee from this day forth that every topic is going to be church related or church activity related. I'm just saying, but we want to give you our clean views from church folk. Okay? All right. So what you say,
So I'm really interested in this topic because as a man in the church, I benefit from that sexism. I get opportunities that they have traditionally closed off to women. And for me, it's disturbing because I have 2 daughters and a wife.
Well, let's just talk about from where we've come from. Because
Well, have we moved that far?
We might not have moved that far, but we moved further than we were.
Okay.
At first, they was like, they could be ushers.
Nah, they couldn't be that at first.
They couldn't be an usher.
They couldn't be that.
Well, it just
So at
depends on what
first,
religion.
well, I'm
But
talking
you're
about
talking
the
about
charismatic
Kojic.
Christian,
Okay.
not just the Kojic
Because ours was
denomination.
for ushers. We could cook. We could clean up, and basically, you were like almost like servants.
Yeah, that's the only thing I guess in the traditional church what used to happen is when you would enter into the whatever it was, whatever sanctuary it was,
Right.
the men would serve as a security checkpoint at the door, so women would never do that job. And so what ends up happening is they do become the cooks, the babysitters,
Right.
the bathroom attendants for the
Yeah.
thing, and the overall essence of
Janitors.
activities. And they were even lower than that.
Church janitors.
The overall essence of the activities was very limited for women.
Yeah.
So now,
They
even
were
though a
to
lot of
sit down and shut up. They were just to fill the pews, by visual.
Basically.
And is that where both of you, the churches you guys started in, how both of your churches were that you started in?
No.
No.
My church in New York was weird because my pastor was a woman.
Well, I was just going to say, I have always had women pastors. My first pastor was Pastor Pearl.
Right.
House of Prayer.
And mine has always been Apostle Satterwhite.
So I didn't have, we weren't Kojic, we were full gospel. And so we didn't have that women can't preach type atmosphere in our church. My pastor was a woman. So the women can preach, they can be evangelists, they can be whatever it is that they were called to be in the church.
And that's why I think it's all about interpretations of a pastor and their church and what they read in the scriptures. Because what was that? There was a time where women were to be quiet and be taught by their husbands.
See, the theologian in me just kicked in.
I'm just saying, when you get those scriptures told to you, instead
out of context,
studying.
Right.
No, but if you're not going to study and you're going to believe that this man of God who's leading you is giving you the scripture where to read it, right? And I'm not reading above, below, around, to the side. I'm just going by his interpretation of what he's telling me and what he's reading. Then it comes to be a tradition.
Right.
Of that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
And we've taken tradition and turned it into doctrine erroneously.
Right.
Because I say this, my mom was a minister, assistant pastor, my wife is an evangelist, my daughters want to do that, they want to grow up and preach, and the only thing that a lot of churches would allow women to do is teach Sunday school and sing. Anything beyond that was deemed, usurping authority over a man. And my theory was simple, because they misuse the scripture. Paul said that women should be quiet. I said, well, Paul wrote that letter to a significant amount of people that were being boisterous in an environment where it wasn't proper. It's like going to a banquet yelling.
And they weren't giving correct information.
Right, they were all wrong.
And see,
and then he told the other church, you should be talking more. He told the women, you should be talking.
Right.
And so we misconstrue one scripture because it fits this control factor that we have.
There you go.
And we don't fully apply. I think in certain settings, depending on the nature of the person, male or female, you should probably be quiet.
Right.
Well, women didn't say much back then anyway.
At least publicly.
Yeah. Right. And so it was a factor of there's some chauvinistic stuff going on back there anyway. Yeah. So then they had to adapt to that, even if they were called, because you have women in the Bible who's done some significant things.
But you know what they say? Oh, that was back then.
Yeah, that's what they'll say.
And see, this is that's been a problem, like in a lot of other churches that I visited, where women weren't allowed to sit in the pulpit and women weren't allowed to, do any ministering or anything. Like you said, they were allowed to usher, they were allowed to sing in the choir, but it was always a shock for me growing up with women pastors who, they read the word and they did. Now, I don't say that some of the jobs shouldn't be for men, but when men did not step up, weren't going to church, weren't being in church, women had to take over. God will use whoever he'll use. He'll call whoever he's going to call. And so even the positions that should have been filled by men had to be filled by women. And
it was a necessary function to keep the tradition and preserve the activities of the tradition.
Right. So because of that, I think that it should have opened some eyes. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to think, if it should have, I agree with you, but I always say, if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results, unless you're insane. If you do the same thing, expecting different results. And so I think a lot of times over years, we've completely just continued erroneous dogmatic traditions and said, that's how it's supposed to go. Like, I'm so grateful my church isn't like that.
Right.
Like, the women in our church, they're liberated to do pretty much, as long as you get the proper credentials, which any organization has. Huh? They what?
They've probably expanded because.
Oh, without a doubt, they've expanded over the years.
Like
they wasn't.
I always would like to know in the other churches, and the reason why I say I'd like to know because the Clark sisters, when they came out, their mama was a singer / choir director. The woman was awesome in music.
And she could preach. She could preach.
But they told her that she could not get up and sing with her daughters. And her daughters were already famous. And when she did anyway, because she loved her daughters and she was trying to support them and be there for them, they sat her down. So
I've
it was
never
a
heard that story.
repercussion and a punishment.
I've
Yes.
never heard that story.
Because she
Twinkie told
sang
this
with them?
story.
Who?
Twinkie told the story.
Why would they sit her down because she sang with them?
Because they told her not to. They told her she could not. And it's being a part of their church. And so they went on television.
But they let the daughter sing?
They went on television.
That's weird.
But the daughters weren't holding any positions.
Yeah.
Oh, because of her position.
Right. The
they
daughters
felt
was like, this is what we doing. This is what we was born to do. And that's what they were doing. But the fact is that they told her not to. And then they were like, please, Mama, we're singing this song and it's your song.
And we
want you to sing it with us.
Yeah.
As because you're the foundation of who started us.
Right.
And so she, she didn't want to, and then she did. And she tore it up.
Of course.
They was on TV.
She was one of the best choir directors to this
TV,
day.
and when they seen her on TV, they immediately, when she got off the stage and she got home, she got a phone call, and they sat her down.
I would have did the same
And
thing.
you've never seen her in any other
anyway.
recording with singing with them.
You know what I believe? I believe hearing that story for the first time, I think she took the role. I don't want to take the attention away from my daughters and make it about me.
No.
I think.
No,
I'm saying.
They told her.
No, I get it, but I think she
wouldn't have
adhered
given
to
the first
that.
time. She probably would have done it
Yeah.
again.
She would have done it
if
again
hadn't
over
been
time
such
for
a
her
big
kids.
thing.
I would do the same thing. I don't want my kids to lose out on opportunities because I'm trying to do
they would have
something.
lost out on any
Oh, they would have.
opportunities because they're huge.
Now they're huge, but
No,
back then,
when they were on TV, they had already been discovered by like Ed Sullivan and stuff like that. They were the first gospel singers to go on major networks. So they were already out there.
right?
People were in love with their music. So if she had a went and sung with them again or not, it wouldn't have mattered.
No, I think it would have
I think
mattered.
what he's saying is that if the stigma of what was going on in the church would have followed them, that it could have had negative publicity or
Right. But the
tarnished
church
their
was their
brand.
platform. The church was
You know
their
what I'm
platform.
saying?
So,
That's why she was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna
I'll
vote
let
against
y'all-
the system. I'm
yeah, I'll let
gonna
y'all
do that
roll.
thing.
I think she was just done singing because she was up there in age already.
Well, she took over the whole thing for the coaching music department. So it wasn't that she
But
was
it
done
wasn't.
singing.
Was it then or was it after the fact?
From what I know about her tenure,
Because you
it
didn't
had
even
to be
know she
after.
got sat down. You see what I'm saying?
Because she'd been doing it for so long.
Exactly.
So it was never, and that story's probably been told. I ain't in the room when those stories are told. But I still, and it still feeds a lot of the
But that hurt their mom.
Oh yeah,
I could
hurt
tell
them
you.
too.
No, I'm talking about it hurt her because she wanted to sing with
With her daughters, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's why Karen sings so much with her daughter
Yeah.
to fulfill that with her mom.
Yeah.
And I think so
And I
many
have to
times,
agree with that.
so many times in the church we stifle what we don't understand or what goes against tradition.
And that's what it was. And to me, I'm gonna be honest about how I felt. I felt the pastor just made a power pool.
Well, and that's my issue. I think the sexist movement is a power play. Like my
Yeah.
daughter, my youngest daughter plays drums. And it's crazy to me that people are surprised she plays drums. I'm like,
I
her
don't know
father
why.
plays drums.
But
Watch
there
this.
are some
Her
awesome
grandmother
drums.
plays drums.
But there's
Right.
some awesome females that play the drums.
Sheila E. is probably one of the best drummers in the world still to this day.
she's not.
Who do you think is better than Sheila E?
Me.
You said
You talking about
I'm
Sheila
better
E.
than Sheila
The
E.
Sheila E. You think you better than Sheila E?
No.
she's
Oh, okay. I'm just going.
She don't really think.
But I was going to really check your temperature.
Right?
Yeah.
But think about it. Why are people shocked that in some areas women are just as? I don't even think it should be a gender thing. I think my wife can preach most hooping dudes under the table.
I'm gonna tell you when you talk
But
about.
she's a woman, so it's looked at as why is she crossing
When you
that
talk about
sometimes.
gender stuff, period. This is what kills me. There's a lot of men better at things females can do, like hair.
Oh man, there's this guy that he kills it doing his daughter and his wife's hair.
And you see what I'm saying?
But
But back in the day,
real for real.
Back in the day,
it ain't just
that's
back
a
in the
woman
day.
thing.
It's still today.
No, but I'm saying that they would think
not
that.
back in the day.
But I'll tell you, this man, he's married.
It's
he
more
has
acceptable
2
for
daughters,
men to
and
do hair now.
He does the
You
women's
think
hair.
so?
I don't think it's more acceptable.
I think it is now.
I've
so?
seen hair
I think it
shows
is
and
now.
everything
Yeah.
that these men are bad.
I mean, I think it's more prevalent. I still think the stigma exists, though.
Well, you know what? It's because there was all this stigma with guys not feeling masculine if they were doing
If they
hair
did do
And that still exists.
But
No.
But now there's a lot of men who don't care.
Yeah,
Like
they
I was
don't
just saying,
care.
this man
And
is
I agree
married,
with that. There's a lot of
he
men
has
who
a
don't
wife, he
care,
has 2 kids,
but
and
they
he
are
does
fighting the
all
stigma
their
that still
hair.
exists. I agree with
And
you.
you don't have a problem.
I
You know
agree
what I'm
that I agree that there's
Right,
a lot of men that don't care.
There's some men.
But the stigma, they
that-
don't care because
I'm
the
saying,
stigma still
There's
exists.
you know
some
what? But
men.
they're changing it.
Right? There's some
Who's changing
men
it?
that's so masculinely masculine that they just think that women belong in this place and men belong in this place. But there is some men who can outcook a woman.
Most men probably can outcook a woman.
I'm just saying that.
But
it
a
used to
cooking ain't
be
a gender thing.
Well, in the house it has
Cooking
been.
used to
so,
be
look,
for the women.
Well, this is so funny. Wait. There's actually a different stigmatism when it comes to cooking. Cooking in the house was a woman's thing.
Right, barbecuing was a man thing.
But cooking as a chef
Was a man thing in the same kitchen.
And isn't that
that's
crazy?
what I'm
In the
saying.
home, it was predominantly the woman has to cook, the man don't
But if
cook.
you got
It's
a
a woman's
woman-
job. But if you go to a restaurant,
Still
a man,
to this day, if you see a
It's a
woman
man.
chef in a restaurant, everybody goes, oh!
right? Isn't
So
it
that
crazy?
stigma still exists.
And it's still cooking.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any
If you
sense
see a
at
woman
all.
at the barbecue, you go, oh, you can barbecue? It doesn't make any
It doesn't make
sense.
sense. But I tell you
Well,
what,
if you see me barbecuing, you can go, because Anthony probably don't know I'm using his grill.
You're probably playing your
Right
funeral.
now. You be like, does Anthony know I'm using his
I
grill?
don't have a problem barbecue. But look, with the thing I was saying about men, if you look in social media now, you'll see more fathers trying to be prevalent
Single
in their
parents.
children's lives.
Yep.
And there's a lot of single dads who are showing how they can put their daughter's hair up in puff balls and they're having daddy-daughter day and all that. And they're showing that, look, mommy ain't here or mommy can't do it.
And look, and
I'm
just
gonna
like,
take over and I'm gonna
just
take care of my
like,
daughter.
it's not even the women, they just working so hard. Sometimes there are women who will be just as worse as how the dudes used to do and just break camp. Like they ain't got no kids.
I think a
The
lot of
only
that.
thing is that a lot of them are not paying child support.
Well, but I
I'm
think
talking
now.
about the women.
I think
a lot of the
nowadays
women are
with-
not paying that child support.
With the advent of camera phones, we see it in a different light. I
Yeah.
think it's been going on for generations.
Well, see, and
I
that's
think
what
now
I'm
we
saying.
see it differently.
Well, see, that's
say
what I'm
that.
saying. I think that people are trying to break those molds.
Yeah.
They're trying to break the stigmatism.
Yeah.
They're trying to push us forward. You know what I'm saying? And these mindsets that don't really make sense. Like, why is it, prevalent for a woman to do it in the house and a man to do it in a restaurant? Like, that don't even make sense. It's still the same job. It's the same
It's the
thing.
same ingredients.
So, right.
Same
So why
utensils.
is there? And the one at home probably tastes better because they have.
That
take
depends
more
on which
time,
restaurant you
have
go
more
to. Because
love.
some of these restaurants taste like your mama's kitchen. It's insane.
That's true. But I'm just saying, those things, so guys are trying to say, look, it's not about a woman or a man's job. It's about taking care of my child.
Right.
think
Now,
that
then when you take it
that
back to the
attitude-
church.
Yes, I was just going to say, I think that attitude needs to be the same in the church. If God calls somebody to preach, it doesn't matter what sex they are. It doesn't matter their gender. Because
put it
He's
this
going
way.
to anoint them to do the job
And-
and supply them with information.
I'm just saying, if it doesn't matter what sex you are, if you are in tune with God, He's going to give you the same message. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. She might say it differently. He might say it differently. But you're saying the same thing. That means you are both hearing from God. I remember a time when the woman, if she couldn't give no preaching to just the other women, the women's thing, because she had to have that male pastor sitting in the pulpit when they brought the little altar pulpit down, because she couldn't stay in the main pulpit.
Yeah, she had to stand in front of the pulpit.
she had to stay in
with
front
a little,
of it with a little
Well, I would say,
podium,
here's what I'll say to that.
with an emasculated pulpit.
I've said this and I'll keep saying it. Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your church's tradition, then you're making a choice
to be a member.
Succumb to that. Find a new church.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm totally not against people leaving churches to find what's comfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
I can disagree.
Because you don't want to be limited. No, I mean.
No, actually, I do.
Now, me,
I want to have limitations put on me because I'm a nutcase sometimes. I need those.
God, when God says do this, I don't care how crazy it is. I want to have the freedom to do it.
I can't. I tell you why, because sometimes
you're gonna limit your blessings. Then
I don't think so. Because if God tells me
everything that comes about,
so. Hear me out.
I'm just.
If God says,
I'm over here winking.
if He says to me, go talk to that young person.
Okay.
Right, and I believe the scripture. The old people have wisdom that I don't have. Going to talk to a person, the way I go about it is the limitation that I want on me. I want a mentor.
So wait a minute. First of all, and you're putting your own limitation because if God tells you to go talk to that person,
then He's gonna give
you. Do you not know He's gonna give you what He needs?
But what if I'm not listening to that part? What if I got
first
zeal
of all,
without knowledge?
if you heard Him tell you go talk to Him,
right?
Then you're gonna hear what He's
not
telling
necessarily.
you.
We got kids. You ever said I'm not done talking yet, and they gone already?
Connection.
Yeah, there is. We human. We make mistakes.
Right there at that moment. There's no disconnection. First of all, He's going to put on your heart what He wants you to tell Him before He even tells you to go talk to Him.
I don't know about that.
I just know because it eats your heart starts. I'm gonna tell you, there's a process.
That don't happen for me. That's definitely different. That don't happen for me.
I'm gonna tell you, there's a process. You just don't recognize it.
That don't happen for me.
But when you see something, and first of all, the first thing that's gonna come into your mind, ooh, he doesn't know that his shirt's not tucked in. Let me go tell him that his shirt's not tucked in. And this could be spiritually, this could be naturally. Oh, let me go tell him. And you're not going to say, oh, well, his dad's right there. His dad.
But I will say that.
No, you won't.
Yes,
I
do.
You know what you do? If you're en route and you don't see that dad operating like he should be operating, what's up?
Nah.
Your shirt's out.
I don't do that.
I don't know how you're going to talk to him, but there's going to be a way.
If his daddy's standing right there?
No, I'm not saying. I said if the dad is around.
Right.
But it popped in your mind. In order for it to pop in your mind, you're seeing that he wasn't already told.
I tell you what I would do. I would say to the father, hey, man, I saw your son's shirt out. Because as a man,
what if Pops already ran in?
I will find him.
Pops already.
That's a different
scenario. So you're going to leave him with his tail out?
Yes. Because nowadays,
okay, I'm going to give you permission.
We're not
different. See my son.
That's different.
With his fly down.
That's different.
Okay, and I'm standing over to the side. I'm not talking. I'm not even looking. I don't know, but you see it. I want you to say, "Hey, bro."
That's different. There's some people like that.
Why is it different? Why can't you have that same love?
I do have that love, but nowadays with relationships, people are different.
Okay, I can understand if you're trying to discipline.
Now
that's different. When you try to discipline somebody, now I want somebody to come tell me. I was supposed to tell somebody. I was supposed to take my cousin to the mall, right? She didn't go to school that day. Why didn't she go to school today? Oh, she said she was sick, but I knew she was. She just really didn't feel like going. So you taking her to the mall? I said no. I'm not going to reward her for doing what she's not supposed to be doing. Do you know my aunt went off on me? Well, who are you supposed to be? That she's supposed to be, what you supposed to be all that she want to go to the mall? I said, I'm trying to
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Teach that person how to do the right thing. But I don't mind checking that person. I said, I don't got your child out here selling drugs and selling dope and getting high and prostituting. I want to take them to the mall and reward them for doing good.
But
then she had to sit back and think about that thing.
That's a whole different conversation.
But she had to sit back and think about that thing.
Right. But that's
she was
different.
Still mad about it though.
That's because think about it this way. We're talking about sexism in the church, right? If I see a young lady with her dress up,
yes,
it is my responsibility to go find a woman to say, hey, tell her to pull her dress down.
Now I can respect that.
Well, why is that not the same case? Now we're talking about supporting sexism.
Because you're God.
Because society has deemed it inappropriate for me to address.
Now see, but there's a reason.
But if you said that to a boy, your fly is down, ain't nobody got a problem.
No, that's not true.
Well, no. See, but I think the reason for that is because of things that were transpiring. It wasn't. Now
I don't agree with that.
I do.
Yeah.
I think that we don't
There
we
was a
associate
perversion
preaching.
that was going on.
But hold on, we associate all that perversion with males against females and not the females against the males.
But
because the same thing was happening both sides.
But it was more prevalent. See, people didn't.
How do we know who was counting?
Well, let me tell you like this: because men or boys were too afraid to report.
Then we can't say
which
which one was more prevalent.
Well, listen,
so
we
we're
didn't
changing
know.
the subject. We're changing the subject.
But let me finish this conversation.
Okay,
real quick.
I'm gonna let you finish that because I'm gonna bring it back to what it
you
is.
can bring it back. But what I'm saying is, we didn't know. See,
Right.
the reason that we had that stigmatism for males on females is because we knew it was happening.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
So that was a measure to try to prevent anything from happening to young girls.
Right.
So the reason that it wasn't put on women is because they didn't know that was going on.
That's what I'm saying.
There was no reason to. But had they known it,
But you
got
to remember, the women in the church, if they couldn't be nothing in that church, they were all mothers. So for us to go and tell a kid, do this and do that, that was just like...
That was seen as normal.
It was seen as normal because they're like, it takes a village and she's a mother and this is what's
still
proper.
To this day, here's what's funny. I will get... Well, when I first started doing youth ministry, right, I would hug kids. All kids. All genders.
Right.
Elder Tyler gave you a hug. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? It was said to me, you shouldn't do that to the young girls because it looks wrong. And I said, what about the young boys? Because I'm hugging all of the kids. I wasn't singling out any gender. We're talking about sexism, right? Have you ever once heard of a woman being told not to hug young boys?
No, and I don't think that a man should be told not to hug his youth department. I don't
But
think there's
if
anything
you
wrong
do
with
that,
well, see, this is where I think
it's based on that stigma, that same stigma.
Well, right, but I think this is where the lines
that's
are
something
get crossed.
How is it different?
Because
break it down. Because if you don't, I
because you're in the public eye of everybody. You're not trying to do anything funny, sneaky. You're not.
You're not caressing her.
You're not caressing her. You're not
Trying
to fix her undressedness or any of that.
Right.
So a hug is not. You're not making it a sexual gesture, and you're doing it for everyone. Right. So that person that talked to you, they're the ones with the problem.
They're the ones.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying, how come, as a man, right? And I'm fine with it. I don't hug the kids. I high five. As a man,
think that's a problem.
As
a man, I will always get looked at wrong. For if I'm seen talking to a young lady,
it depends on the people who are looking at you.
Exactly.
If you were at my church, so peep this out. If you were at my church, you hugging the youth would not be a problem. My brother is the pastor.
It wouldn't be a problem for y'all.
That's what I'm saying.
But
It all depends on
it
all depends on the people whose perspective you're getting it from.
And just because someone has on the baddest dress in the world, or the baddest suit in the world, doesn't mean he has the baddest mind, the best mind.
Right. I agree with that.
And you got so many perverted people that would think pervertedly before they think of a good thing. You get what I'm saying?
And unfortunately, and this might not be in that case, but experience and also so a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Both of those play a part.
Right.
So I want to say, when I say experience, from that person's point of view, from their experience, when a guy is showing any interest in a girl, it's for a negative reason. So that's where their mind goes. Either they've seen too much abuse, they've been abused,
or their wife didn't like her husband hugging any other females because of her mentality.
I feel you. I'm talking about the sexism exists on both sides, though.
And then the other thing is, so a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So it
could be true. All I'm saying is it could be true on both sides, but we tend to in the same realm of sexism, where a lot of churches don't believe women can talk in front of a lot of people don't believe a man can address certain issues. We'll say that's a woman's issue, and I'm like, I get it, but some issues need a man perspective. And like, nah, because the sexism is kind of like,
you guys won't evolve.
What do you mean, you guys?
That's
a sexist statement.
No, listen, when I say you guys won't evolve. When a man comes and tells you, oh, that's a woman issue, And you need to stand up just as strong and tell him, no, that's all of our issues, and we need to address it. And there's things that we need to talk about up in here that we used to, it was bad juju. You didn't talk about that stuff.
Right.
But you really need to talk about it. Pastor Satterwhite sat down with the youth department. It was so funny, trying to give us a quote-unquote sex class. I think we laughed so hard in that thing because he was trying to find the wording.
Because it was like a new.
Because it's embarrassing, but he knew we needed to have the talk. We were teenagers.
I do believe that there are certain avenues. I was going to caveat this. I do believe that there are certain times where a gender-specific relationship would work better.
Right.
I'm not saying that,
Okay.
but as a father, I've gone over female-oriented things with my daughters. I understand how things like that work.
And
but I do understand.
as like we looked at him like our dad. And so he felt he needed to have the talk because he didn't want us getting it from nobody else. And he wanted us to get the biblical version of it, right?
And
So when he was giving us, he was still
still
doing this like, and if you kiss, that one part of the body, they do call that sodomy, but it's not really.
Because he didn't have.
Do you know?
In the church told him, you shouldn't know about this. That's a woman's job.
So
that's what I'm saying. It happens on both sides.
We're going to come to this topic again because I like this topic, males and females. And then by the next time we do this, we're going to have some more ideas and more things that we're going to talk about. Thank you for joining Joyful Heart Praise. I'm your host, Geraldine.
I'm Letha.
I'm Letha.
Good night. Bye.